Hello, everyone. It's Lauren Conlin of Pop Crime TV. Happy Monday. I'm so excited for today's live. I'm so happy everybody is here. I'm going to say hi to everyone really quickly. Hey, Dizzy. Hey, Charlotte. Hey, Sheila. Hey, Lawnard Amber. Hey, Sue. And look, gosh, the reception is so great already. Hey, Oasis. Hey, Afton. So yeah, I've got a great guest today. Her name is Afi, and she is from the Black Letter Law. She's an entertainment and criminal attorney. And actually, Dizzy, her name is pronounced Afi. So I just want to put that out there because I am not mispronouncing her name. But we're going to be talking about the ASAP Rocky trial. We are going to dive into that today because Afi has been attending the trial. She has also attended some of the preliminary hearings. And this, in my opinion, and we're going to hear from Afi, this is going to be a tough case to prove. I mean, essentially, what we're working with here is prosecutors saying that ASAP Rocky fired a gun twice at his friend, or former friend, I guess I should say. But this gun, I mean, the gun was never recovered. The shell casings were actually recovered by the alleged victim, which is weird, not by the police. And ASAP Rocky's defense attorney, Joe Tacopina, is essentially saying this is a prop gun. So from my perspective, all they really have here is this surveillance video that looks like ASAP Rocky. And at this point, ASAP Rocky is facing 24 years behind bars. This is not small. The stakes are high. And he turned down a plea deal for 180 days. So we're going to get into everything here. And Dizzy, by the way, it's okay. You've heard her name pronounced both ways. No, but I've been through this before on another channel where I mispronounced a name and it was so awful and I felt so bad. But let me bring in Afi right now. Hi, Afi.
Hello, hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to have you on. I know the trial is not happening today, so I reached out to you. I thought it was the perfect time to just sort of get the lay of the land here, what you've observed so far. So I want to ask you something. Both sides have said they are fine with the jury. They think that ASAP Rocky will have no problem getting a fair trial, but I think it's important to note that there are no Black jurors. So, what do you think about that?
Looking at the jurors and having sat in on, I think maybe 2.5 days of the voir dire, I think that the jurors are pretty objective, and I think he will get a fair a fair trial. And I think
Mhm.
they are, a really good body. The problem is even just the entire pool that they had to select from. I think there were about five Black people, period. I don't even know if there were any Black people that were sat in within the first 18 to go through the voir dire questioning. But nonetheless, I think that he still will get a fair trial. And I think, these are some pretty good facts. I know we were
Mhm.
talking earlier. I do want to talk about the prop gun starter pistol issue. But, I think that, these people are being asked to use their common sense, and
Mm.
it'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I had said that I was shocked that he did not take the 180-day plea deal. And I said this mainly because if he's convicted, he faces 24 years. And you know as well as I do, it's really sometimes I should say it's not about the truth, it's about what you can prove in court. And
Mhm.
so, I kind of got attacked for saying this, like he didn't do it. Why would he take a plea? And I'm kind of like, it's not that easy in my opinion. But I mean, do you think so far? I know, we've just seen opening statements and I believe just a couple witnesses. Do you think so far he made the right call in going to trial?
I think a lot of it is relying on your gut and relying on the wisdom and advice of your counsel. And on my Twitter, I got it last year after one of the after the preliminary hearing. I asked the attorney, have you talked to him about um, a plea deal? And he was like, no, I haven't talked to him about a plea deal. There's no need to talk about a plea deal. So I'm only assuming that his attorney is, and you can go and look on my Twitter. I don't want to say that that's verbatim, but that's the gist of it. So I'm assuming that he's relying on the advice of his attorney, but also when you just said he's exposed to 24 years, when you have that type of exposure and then you get such a small deal, and by small I mean the amount of time he's being asked to serve. I think it was 180 days.
Mhm.
In California, after good time, you'll probably serve, it could be anywhere between 45 and 90 days, just like basically no time. And he'd have 7 years hanging over his head. But when I see a deal like that, I think that, they've lost confidence in their case. Maybe they've lost confidence in the credibility of their chief witness, who is also the alleged victim.
Mm.
And some things are a little bit shaky, and I think maybe that offer came about because of the very late prop gun starter pistol defense.
Right. And I guess I was thinking to myself, well, if this trial is so open and shut for ASAP Rocky, why didn't Takapina get it dismissed? It's been 2 years. So I guess I was thinking, the prosecution, they must have something here where they think they can win. Obviously, you don't charge
Mhm.
someone and go to trial unless you think you can win. But to your point, maybe something went down and they're like, oh, shoot, maybe we should offer this deal. Now, with that being said, you were there for opening statements. What did you
Mhm.
think of the prosecution, and what did you think of the defense? Who did you think's statement was stronger?
Well, I'll tell you, I'll answer that, but first, I do want to mention. Oh my God, you just said something. I had a quick brain fart.
I say a lot,
Last
so it's
year,
not your
yeah, no,
fault.
no, no, it's okay. Last year, I did think the prosecution could win. I
Oh,
definitely thought it was winnable for them until they came up with the defense of this gun, because we saw the gun, we know that it was fired. Now the defense is the prop gun or starter pistol. I think they need to decide if it is a prop gun or starter pistol. I think that there's going to be an authentication issue, because I don't think that Rocky's going to testify. So
mm,
how are we going to learn more about this prop gun starter pistol situation? I Now, getting back to the opening statements, it's something that you guys have to know is when you're watching opening statements with prosecutors, unless they're like special prosecutors for specialty issues and specialty units, a lot of
mhm,
times that prosecutor is before that judge regularly. Might be 5 days a week they're before that judge, so they have a different relationship. It might be a little bit more relaxed, if they're not before that judge regularly. It's frequently enough they know each other, so they know each other's temperament, so the relationship is a little different, right?
right.
um, a defense attorney, a paid defense attorney, not a public defender, because a public defender is also usually in front of uh, that judge regularly. But a paid defense attorney is going to be a little bit more animated. A lot of times their salary is going to be 10 times the salary of the prosecutor. So you got to get a little bit more animated. You got to work for, you got to work for what you're getting paid for. And, they're also not in trial every day. So they have just a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of drama. They've got to bring it because they've got somebody's life and freedom on the line.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. We know that defense attorneys are flashy, right? We get that. And we also know, and I think maybe you mentioned this in your Twitter or on your Twitter, something about, Takapina being this forceful New York attorney, and you're not sure if that could help or hurt in the end with the jury. So did you feel that way
Mhm.
right after opening statements, or after cross-examination, or just everything?
No, I thought he was fine. During the voir dire, he actually asked the potential jurors. He said, they say that, me coming from out of town might be a little problem. We might have some clashes with our personalities. With I guess my presentation style, is that going to be an issue? And they were like, no, not at all. So I like that he did that. I thought that was a good thing, because every state, every region, they're going to have a way that they interact with the opposing counsel, a way that they
Right.
interact with the judges, and just the whole courtroom as a whole. So you have to be prepared for that. You have to adjust for that depending on where you go.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, did you think sort of right away, were you thinking, okay, if ASAP doesn't testify, it's going to look bad? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Because, I think I had asked you this question before because you had said, yeah, he's probably not going to testify. And I'm just thinking to myself, I don't see how that, I guess, looks bad because that's your right as a defendant. You don't have to testify and you don't have to explain this to anybody. But I mean, in a case like this where he turns down the plea deal, I mean, do you think that, yeah, in the end it is going to look bad if he doesn't testify?
Well, I don't think it would look bad. Again, Takapina addressed that already.
Oh,
He explained, he does not have to testify. He has that right to remain silent. But
yeah,
we all, if we're accused of something, just by our nature, we want to say, I didn't do it. This is why. And you expect that everybody else is going to want to defend themselves and say, no, this is what really happened. So no matter what jurors say, no matter what your audience says, people want to hear a defendant say it wasn't me and this is why you're wrong. So it's really unfortunate, because we do have that right to remain silent, but you can't fight against something that's inside of you, that impulse, that your nature to want to defend yourself and want to see somebody else defend themselves.
right. And have you seen the witness list for both sides yet? I'm just
I
curious
have
if
not.
you haven't. Okay.
I
Yeah.
need to dive. I need to dive into it though.
Well, I'm just curious if Rihanna is going to be on the witness list, and was she in the courtroom? I'm assuming no, or else there would have been a huge spectacle outside.
No, no, she wasn't in the courtroom. She is purportedly going to be there at some point. I don't know that she's on the witness list. I feel like I would have heard about it if she was. I don't know what she would testify to.
Right. I mean, I don't know if it would be character or gosh, who knows? You know what I'm saying? A character witness.
Right.
Yeah, who knows if he needs that. But I do want to get to asking you about Erica Jane's son. She is a real
Mhm.
housewife of Beverly Hills. Going to share this tab. So he testified last week, and it's so funny how all of these people are connected. I had no idea that they knew each other. But what did you think of his testimony for the prosecution?
It was fine. It was just an ordinary testimony. There was nothing, there was no soundtrack playing when he walked into the witness seat. It was fine. It was fine. It was ordinary. Nothing so spectacular. The only reason I knew he was Erica Jane's son is because I was, looking through the blogs after, or actually during the testimony. That's it.
Yes, and I was not clear, but let me be clear that Erica Jane's son is a sergeant with the
Yeah.
LAPD, and that's why he testified. So it was just your standard law enforcement testimony. It was nothing special. It was
Yeah.
just cut and dry.
Yeah, and I think he's picking up Tuesday. We're gonna pick up with his testimony. I think we're on cross.
Okay. All right. Got it. Now, as far as the defense, what they're alleging here that this case is built on lies, jealousy, greed. I mean, what did you think upon hearing that defense and what you've heard in the courtroom thus far? Do you think there is a possibility that that's what this case is based on?
So last year when I thought the prosecution had a pretty good case, I thought the defense was really playing it up that this was like an extortion attempt. Relly's this really bad guy who was jealous of Rocky, and this was an opportunity for him to make a quick come up. Uh,
Right.
but my position was like two things can be true, right? He
Yeah.
could have really have been shot at and been injured and recovered these bullets, and he could also be whatever the defense is presenting him as. But
Right.
since then, a little bit more has come out, and my biggest issue is Relly allegedly went back to the scene after the police officers kind of scoured the area and didn't find anything, and he found these bullets. But he also, during the preliminary hearing, he said he went back with, I think she's now an ex-girlfriend,
Yeah.
but she wasn't on the video. We didn't see her on the video. I don't know who she is. Haven't heard very much about her, but I'm interested about that.
Yeah,
So
that is
yeah.
really interesting. I mean, that and that
Hmm.
again, that would make him a liar if she's not actually on the video and he said that she was there.
Hmm.
But let me go to just a question from Sheila. Afi, what do you think of the injuries to Relly?
So I don't know if you saw them, but there were two scrapes, pretty heavy scrapes on his knuckles.
Mhm.
So that means I guess the bullets would have had to graze him. I don't know what they could possibly be. I don't know if they could be from the fight, because that's another thing that the defense is saying.
Mhm.
After the second encounter, when ASAP Rocky left the situation, he remained there and he continued to beat up one of the ASAP members. I don't know if it was Ills or 12, but he
Okay.
supposedly just continued to kind of like lay into this guy. So you could argue that maybe it came from the fight,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I don't know where they came from.
Yeah, and Dizzy makes a good point here, saying that the bullets aren't even the same brand as the bullets that were found in Rocky's mag. So
Mhm.
that's also super interesting. And again, it's like, how did this get this far if we have all of this already in discovery? And it's really confusing because, in my opinion, this seems like it's wasting people's time, I guess, or wasting people's
Mhm.
money. But yeah, that could just go back to them offering this plea deal and just crossing their fingers and hoping, that
Yeah.
he took it. But it's sounding more and more to me like, yeah, they don't really have a case, or the case they thought they did.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, for me, the biggest issues again, why did he go back there? Was it to set the scene? I was reading, I'm always on the blogs, and I was reading, and someone said that he went back there to take a picture for evidence. And, so he could maybe turn that over to the police. Yeah, but anyway, that's my big issue. And then also, I think the jurors are going to have to ask themselves, does it make sense that this was a prop gun or starter pistol? Could there have been live rounds in this prop gun or starter pistol? They're also going to have to contend with the fact that, I think the prosecution laid it on heavy that this is a densely populated area. It's a touristy area. You think of young people, you think of children out, you think of people coming into this community because they want to visit, they want to patronize, and they're met with gunfire.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm gonna pull up your Twitter in a second because you made some good points that I want to go over. But here's a question: didn't the police take pictures and videos where the bullets were found, and where the surveillance tape that shows where he found the bullets?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know if that was really brought out during either side's openings. I'm not sure. I have to
Well,
go back. I'm going to go and look at it tonight.
yeah, I think that they did, and I'm not sure why they wouldn't, or at least the defense wouldn't bring that up if it didn't match. But I guess we'll see. But I do, like I said, I do want to pull up your Twitter because you bring up a great point here. And I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'll read it. You had said Takapina said that Relly knew that Rocky's gun was a prop gun. That's why he was
Mhm.
unafraid and followed Rocky to the second location. At the second
Mhm.
location, Relly again was the alleged first aggressor. And that was a really good point to me because I was just like, that's so true. If you're scared for your life, then why are you going to follow him to the second location?
Mhm. So, and I think the prosecution kind of addressed that in their opening. They said that he thought that really thought that they were going to have it out. They were going to fight like brothers do, is what he said. They were going to mend their relationship, and it would be well after that. Uh, so,
Okay.
so I guess that's their position. I would also, argue that he knew he wasn't going to shoot him because it doesn't make sense. His star is ascending. Why would he shoot him at this point? Maybe he's just taking it out to threaten him. Who knows?
Right. Right.
Like, he
Right.
knows him. He's known him since he was 18, 19 years old. So,
Yeah. And you'd know what your alleged friend is capable of or incapable of, I
mhm,
would think. I mean, I certainly know if I've had a friend for, a few decades, I would know what they are capable of. But again,
yeah.
I guess you don't truly know anybody, so I can't really speak you know, make a blanket statement like that. But
Mhm,
something else that you had said was, neither, or the defense's opening statement, Takapina said, neither Rocky's prints nor his DNA were found on the shell casings. And then
Mhm.
again, the type of bullets retrieved from ASAP Rocky's house does not match the bullets or casings that Relli allegedly retrieved from the scene. I mean, that's pretty important. His fingerprints are not found. I mean, and again, they don't match. So yeah, that's a big deal. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you happen to look at the jurors' faces when he was saying that, but were they receptive to that? Because it sounds like you
You
were, and
know,
I am.
I look, I at first initially I thought the defense was ridiculous, but I've been moved.
Yeah.
And I think the jurors, they have been really paying attention. You know, it seems like they've been just interested and really thoughtful, which I really respect. So I think that they're taking everything in, they're processing it as they should.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
nobody seems bored, nobody seems over it, nobody seems like, they have just, some predetermined idea about what happened, which is good.
And when you were watching the video that Takapina presented in opening
Mhm.
statements, did you also agree that Relly was the aggressor and that ASAP's hands were down?
Yes, at some point, when he was describing it, I'm watching and it looked like Relly had his hands kind of around his collar area and ASAP's hands were down, but that was at one point. I
Okay.
wasn't just examining the entire video. And then you have the second video, which you really can't see much, that's pretty blurry. But
Mhm.
from the first video, it definitely looked like he was the aggressor.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. And some
Mhm.
other notes that you made, Takapina said Rocky carries a prop gun for safety because he's been a victim of attacks and home invasions.
Mhm.
I mean, I haven't exactly looked. Are there records of his home being invaded or burglarized or whatever?
I don't know, but I thought that was really interesting because what Takapina did was he walked over to Rocky and said that he had been involved in a violent incident and he carries a scar on his face to this day. And he also mentioned that he was being stalked. He was being actively stalked during that situation. So
Hmm.
I was like, okay, well,
Yeah.
wow, this is making some sense, and that's another thing. How is the defense going to introduce the fact that he carries this prop gun? Is Ilvi or 12E, are they going to testify that even they too carry these prop guns? Maybe somebody's going to testify that it's like pretty much industry standard. That they advise their clients, somebody in security, advises their clients to carry this, for their personal protection. It's just kind of like the first line of defense. Who
Yeah.
knows? I don't know how they're going to do it, but
Yeah. Or
I'll
or
know if I look at the witness list.
are there police reports as well? I mean, you know what I mean? Like to back
Yeah.
up all of these claims. I would hope that there are, and that's why he feels comfortable saying them in a courtroom. But that's all
Yeah.
really interesting. And yeah, I would just have to think that at some point somebody will back these claims up, and it'll make more sense to us. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's something else that you said was both things can be true when it comes to Takapina saying the case is nothing more than a money grab and the case
Hmm.
is all about money. And that's my favorite phrase, by the way. Multiple things can be true. Rocky
Hmm.
could have shot at Relly, and Relly could have tried to extort Rocky for money. The extortion doesn't negate criminal liability for the shooting. And that's also going to be, I think, at the front of the jury's mind. And I think that
Hmm.
was a really good point.
Yeah, the thing is, like, you can be a scummy person, you can be a blackmailer, you can be an extorter, it doesn't matter. You can also be the victim of a crime. So,
Right.
that's something that I think the prosecution needs to, you know, not try and downplay. Don't try and downplay the fact that, he was in fact looking for money.
Right.
A victim gets into a car crash, you're going to be looking for some type of payout. So,
Right. Right. Of course. I mean, the thing is though, like this is clearly a criminal trial, right? So,
mhm.
it's so it is interesting to me when people talk about the Diddy this case and that case, and they're like, oh yeah, it's a money grab, and you're like, yes, well, it's a civil trial, so yes, of course they want money.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of like you're not telling us
Yeah.
anything new, or there's no gotcha here.
Yeah,
But yeah,
seeing
it's
someone in prison might not make me whole, right? But getting some type of financial settlement might help to work to make me whole in many ways. So it's just two separate things.
yeah, and it's interesting because I mean, for me, like, yes, if I don't know if it's like I don't know, I would love to see someone in prison that that really,
Mhm.
you know what I mean, that messed me up or messed up someone in my family. I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm talking about a case like this where everybody's alive, nobody was let's say brutally assaulted allegedly. Yeah, I'd still like to
Mhm.
see this person in prison, but sure, I'd like to get some money. Um
Mhm.
but yeah, so court reconvenes tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
So do you know what to expect for this week, or is it kind of like I guess a surprise besides the witness we left off on?
I haven't prepped anything. I plan to be shocked. I'll probably look at. I need to. I will look at the witness list tonight and come up with some
Okay.
type of theory in order. But I don't know. No, I'm
Okay.
excited. I'm like a kid
Yeah.
going to a movie I know nothing about. So.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, let me know, like, just here's the time now to just say anything that you want to say about the case. I mean, stuff that you haven't tweeted,
Mhm.
stuff that you think that we should know. I would love to hear it.
The only thing for me, I'm always thinking if I were a juror, what would matter to me? And what would matter is the fact that I saw a gun. I know it was fired because I heard it being fired. So I want to know for sure that it was well, you gotta let me know, is it a prop gun or is it a starter pistol or is it one and the same? Because like for example, when I heard starter pistol, I first thought to myself, like I have a tremendous amount of experience with track and field. I know what starter pistols look like. Relly's going to be able to testify what that pistol or what the weapon looked like. So, also when we think of prop guns, this is an entertainment city. So, you have a lot of people who have been in the entertainment business. We just followed the Alec Baldwin case. So we're going to know like prop guns, can they contain live rounds? So we've got to get the language right. We've got to figure out what we're talking about here. Because as a juror, I want to know because I
Yeah,
know there was a gun and I know that bullets were fired, and it's very convenient to argue that it was a prop gun or starter pistol, and it very well may be true. I believe it was true because they presented pretty good compelling arguments in the opening, but I want to believe it, make me believe it. Like,
yeah,
help me understand that it's true. Help me understand by telling me, hey, this is pretty much, industry standard for people, especially those who are being actively stalked, who've had home invasions, who have fans following them, who have fans that can, you know, um, get outside themselves sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, help me be able to make that argument to other people when I go back into the jury room. That's what's important.
right.
And just again, like going back to what we were talking about in the beginning when we started with black jurors, you
Mhm.
might have black jurors. That does not mean that they're going to argue for you in the jury room. The jury room is a very interesting space. Have you ever been on a jury?
I haven't, but I have jury duty this Thursday, so hopefully not. But yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's like a little microcosm of the city. You have just like all types of personalities. You have people who are introverts. You have the extroverts. You have people who want to lead. You have those who want to be led and just follow. You have people who um, know each other. They might be sixth cousins. They might find that they have a relative in common. They develop a friendship. That's an alliance. Like they're developing alliances back there. You might have jurors who like to eat the same types of food, like to cook the same types of food. Because during the trial, you can't discuss anything about the case. So you get to
Right,
know people on different levels. You might have jurors that want to go into business with each other afterwards. Like you have alliances that develop. It's jury. That's why. A friend of mine explained there was a jury expert helping Takapina and his team select the jurors. So
wow.
this is a big deal. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's so
yeah, that's
interesting.
Mhm,
So the defense hired a jury expert. That's so wow, I did
mhm.
not know that. So yeah, so I'm
And that's
assuming
from my
then
girl Mel. I gotta
okay.
give her a shout out.
All
So
right.
Mel, I'm not a lawyer, but yeah, she's awesome. Met her. She's really insightful.
I mean, I guess that makes me believe that the defense is happy with the jury pool then, especially if they had an expert come in and help them. And just I don't mean to just like to focus on the gun. I mean, I guess I am because that's a huge part of this. But if they don't have the gun, and let's say ASAP has this prop gun, why would he not bring it, I guess, as evidence to say, here, you can have it. This is the gun. It was never fired. I mean, I guess I don't really understand if he's innocent and that didn't happen or you know what I mean? Or whatever. This gun doesn't match those shell casings. Why doesn't he just bring it forward?
Well, who's going to introduce it? Who's going to introduce and authenticate the gun? That's the problem. Is it going to
Yeah.
be Rocky? Is he going to say like, "This is the gun that I had that night"? In order to do that, he has to testify. Like
Mm,
that's the biggest issue.
and I guess and he won't. And that's where I'm like, well, wait, what? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's interesting. Again, back to just here's my innocence, here's the gun, here's everything. Okay. Yeah, this is where I just go back and forth, I guess. He doesn't have to testify, it's his right, but why would you not if you are innocent and you also turn down 180 days, which you pointed out could essentially be 90 days, you know?
Much less than that, much less than 90 days. Because it's still a felony conviction. Nobody just wants a felony conviction, and prison isn't fun. Jail, jail, prison, being in custody, nothing is. It's not fun. It's not easy. Even an evening or a weekend, it's not fun.
Yeah.
So it's not always easy to just say, I'll take that time. There's still a lot of things that you'll still have hanging over your head, including that 7 years that he'd be on probation. So there are a lot of reasons, and I think the prosecution they've got a battle. I don't know that I call it uphill, but they've got a battle
Mhm.
and then keep in mind there are lots of reasons defendants don't testify. They are under so much scrutiny, and it's really challenging because people might listen to the way he talks, the way he defends himself. If he says too much or too little, I always tell my clients, don't volunteer any information. But again, people want you to just speak your mind and speak your soul, whereas I would say, hey, don't say anything, answer what I've asked. And then it's just, you don't know what they'll open the door to on cross-examination. It's incredibly risky. People will look at your demeanor. Is he hunched over? Okay, we don't believe him because he's hunched over, he doesn't seem confident. Okay, does he have perfect posture? He's overconfident. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just too much scrutiny that you
right.
open yourself up to. So I
No,
say sit your behind down.
you're right, and Dizzy, you
Mhm.
also make a good point. I mean, he turned it down because the conviction would cause travel issues because as you pointed out, Afi, when you are a convicted felon, this affects your life in so many different ways. So that's a really good point. You're on probation for 7 years. You're a
Mhm.
convicted felon. You'd probably have issues, traveling to different countries. I'm assuming, and just yeah, oh my gosh, that's a great point. And how your life would unfold after being
Sure.
convicted of a felony. And then,
Mhm.
I mean, sure, somebody, he could apply for a pardon from Gavin Newsom or whoever the
Mhm.
governor is at, when he applies, but that's not guaranteed, of course. And
Mhm.
I think it's a whole process. And I think you're right. There's a lot more than just taking the
Mhm.
jail time and going. I guess I just keep thinking like, gosh, if you're convicted and you get sentenced to 24 years, what are you
There's
going to
no
be
way he'd give him 24 years. I
right?
don't know what the exposure is. Is it 12 years each count? And so I think 24 is dramatic. 12 years each count running
Yeah.
consecutively. That's 24 years. That's the max. He'd never ever 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 get that.
But that's still I mean, that is still a lot. I can't imagine, especially with having a baby and not being able to be with your
Two
baby.
sons, two
Yeah,
beautiful
yeah,
sons. Yeah.
it's really heartbreaking. So, yeah,
Mhm.
go ahead. Oh, did I cut you off?
No, no, but I agree. It's really heartbreaking, but I think the jury is also gonna be looking at, um, I just I have that little bit of reasonable doubt that I think the defense wants these jurors to have. I have it right now. Who knows what will happen with it, but, maybe it'll blossom, who knows? Um, I think that's what he's hoping for.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, so initially, a few years ago, you were okay with this case. You said, yeah, this should go
Oh,
to
yeah.
trial. They have a case here,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? Yeah. But now you were under the impression that maybe it's not as strong as you initially thought. Uh, I mean, me personally, because I didn't really pay attention a few years ago, I'm still looking at this from the lens of it's a stretch, and this might be
Mhm.
motivated because he is who he is. That's my impression right now.
Yeah, the reason why I was so sure last year is because, I saw, in a preliminary hearing, you kind of see what a person is going to do. It's kind of like a deposition almost. You see how a person is going to perform at trial, and I say perform because it is a performance. So when Relly testified, I thought he was solid. I thought it was a solid testimony. I thought he was confident, and everything the defense was throwing at him, he was kind of absorbing it and kicking it right back out. So I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty much a slam dunk. The only thing that changed is the weapon. That's it. That's the only thing that's changed. So the jurors have to somehow believe again that uh, well, the prosecution has the responsibility to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this was in fact a
Right.
gun that fired live rounds. And the defense is poking holes in that. The first hole is the fact that um, uh, what is it that he followed Rocky to the second location.
Second.
If you
Exactly.
were so afraid, why are you following this man who said that he's going to kill you, supposedly? So
Right.
that's the first hole. The second hole for me is the fact that um, he is known to carry. That's the thing. He's known to carry a prop gun or a starter pistol. So, and I think Relly admitted that he knows him to carry a prop gun or starter pistol. When he admitted that, I don't have the full story on that. I don't know those details, but that's what I was told last week during jury selection. So
Wow.
that's another hole because that concept was so beyond me. But
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
I've never heard of that
so
either, but again, I don't
mhm,
live in that world. I
yeah.
didn't know that was a thing to carry a prop gun, but
Mhm,
I'm learning something new every day. So it is what it is. But I would just hope that all of these threats that he was getting, they are well documented and that
mhm,
Tacopina can present those when it's time to present those just to
mhm.
add credibility to all of this. And am I am I making this up? Didn't Tacopina represent Joran Vandersloot, Natalie Holloway's murderer?
Did
I'm
he?
just I think he did, or am I making this up? People in the chat would
Let me
probably
Google
know.
him.
Or
I haven't Googled him.
no, he represented him, I thought for maybe it was for the second murder, or
Mhm.
something. I can't exactly remember, but, or
Oh,
maybe I'm
yeah, A-Rod, Jordan Vandersloot,
yes, yes, he
Michael
did.
Jackson,
Okay, so I'm not crazy. Yes, I am not
Lilo
crazy. Okay.
Burnett.
Oh my gosh,
Oh
and Charlotte,
my.
yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah, she's gonna Google it. I love it. But this is so funny. Celebs and 6-year-olds pretending to be cowboys carrying prop guns. I mean, look, I don't know what's better. I mean, I know in New York City where I live, you have to take I think it's an 18-hour course to get
Mhm.
your conceal and carry permit. I mean, maybe these guys just don't have time, so they're carrying prop guns. But like, I
He's
can't see
licensed to carry. I don't
he
know
is.
in where, but he's
Oh,
licensed to carry. That's another
oh.
thing.
So then why is okay, that's another thing that's a little confusing to me. Why carry a prop gun if you're actually licensed to carry a real firearm, right?
to stay out of trouble. Like again, it's just your first line of defense. Like you don't really, again, why if you're carrying weaponry or the semblance of weaponry because you're a celebrity, um, and there are credible threats against you. But that's why you have your bodyguards, right? You
Mm.
do that. Your bodyguards are supposed to protect you. If for some reason they aren't there to protect you, hey, $1 trillion goddess, it's my girl. If they're not there to protect you, then you have this prop gun and or starter pistol. You need to figure out what it is. But it keeps you out of trouble that a gun would get you into. Maybe, that's the thought.
Okay, yes, but you made a really good point too. He has bodyguards, and
Mhm.
I mean, are they with him at all times? I'm assuming no, you can't be with someone at all times, but you can be with them for a significant amount of time. So,
Mhm.
I mean, he has his bodyguards carrying, he's carrying a prop gun, he still had to use it. I
Mhm.
think, yeah, a lot of this will possibly come out and just ah, I don't know. It'll definitely not make him look great in my opinion, but I'm also with you. There's a lot of doubt here, and I
Mhm.
see all of the doubt if
Yeah.
I were a juror. So, and Dizzy, this is a good question. I don't think he had a
No.
bodyguard with him at the time. No, yeah, that's
No.
okay. Right. And then just going back to trillion dollar, you can set yourself up in a really bad way. Definitely let your security handle things. Have them with you at all times if there are
Mhm.
credible threats. And that's also a good
Mm.
point, though, Afi. If he was getting these threats, why not have security with him 24/7?
That's a
It's
good question. But we do know, I don't know, I can't answer that. I can just
mhm,
suppose, when you're traveling, you have security, you have local security who's always with you. And then sometimes you have security that you find, in the state that you're going to. And sometimes you'll have to reach out to, maybe it's somebody you regularly go to if you're regularly in that state. If you're
mm,
not, you'll have to reach out to an agency or something like that, and who knows if you have 24-hour security or if you have security just for a particular event, and if it's somebody from an agency, you might not necessarily trust that person. So you might only want them there for a specific event or a specific night out where you're going to be crowded.
right. Um, how long do you foresee the prosecution's case going? Do you think it's going to last this full week? Do you think it's going to go into next week, 2 days? What are you thinking?
I'd have to look at the witness list, but
Mhm.
probably definitely this week.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll think this week. Again, I need to look at the witness list maybe through Monday, and then I
Okay.
think the defense. Oh, so that's another thing. Thinking of the defense, whether they'll put on witnesses. There was a 28-page report that they got like the night before trial started, and it has to do with the ballistics on the gun. So Takapina was really, really upset about it because he said, we need to get our own expert witness to, review everything that's in the report and maybe either confirm or dispute whatever's going on. So, he wanted sanctions such that you couldn't use the report, but the judge said, no, you're going to be able to use it, but I'll pay for whatever expert witness you get. So that's interesting. Um,
Oh.
and I think it was the ballistics on the casings that Relli allegedly picked up from the crime scene.
Wow. Okay, that's super interesting.
Mhm.
And yes, Leonard Amber says the judge really tried to make it right with covering any rush
Hey,
testing.
Amber.
Yeah, but in her opinion, there should at least be a delay. And gosh,
Mm.
I would agree with that too. I I just, I do try to put myself in the position of the defendant sometimes, and I'm like, that would not be fair. But yeah, that's a really good
I thought
point.
he should have excluded it, but, you
Okay.
know, I think maybe they'll address it again if they're not able to get, an expert in time. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah, and trillion dollar, you also make another good point, just going back to the security issues. No, it's true. Like
Mhm.
Rihanna is not probably, doing much without bodyguards. I would assume. I
Right.
mean, she is like he's very famous, but Rihanna is Rihanna, okay? I mean, she is a
Mhm.
international global superstar that
It's
even
an
your grandma
icon.
knows about. Yeah. So I
Mhm.
think that's a really, really good point. And yes, I just want to pin this comment. Afi, so glad you're
Hi,
covering this.
Amber.
And yeah, everybody, welcome to Pop Crime TV. Make sure you like and subscribe. But if you're joining me on my channel, make sure you go to Afi's channel and you
Mhm.
like and subscribe to her content. And she is at the Black Letter Law. So
Yeah.
Afi said, she's like, I don't really do any of these live streams. And I'm like, don't worry. I just started this summer. They're traumatizing at first, but everybody's so nice about it that it makes it all worthwhile. So
Yeah, that's what I love about YouTube. It's like I feel like people want to see you win, and they're like, okay, that's a mess up, but do this, you'll get better. And I'm like, I love this. This is like being in school. This is like being on like a creative arts team or something. So I really love it. Hey Sue, love the friendliness. But
yes,
I'm
me
gonna go
too.
live like after I think I found like some good light.
Yeah.
So after lunch or during lunch, I'm gonna go live and do like little 5-minute recaps this week.
That's so great. Did you guys all hear that? So during the
So
lunch
Charlotte's
break,
my favorite.
yes, I know Charlotte's amazing.
Mhm.
Afi's going to go live, so make sure you pay attention to that. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's like it is really intimidating at first. I will agree, but
Mhm.
everybody, I mean, Dizzy, you guys have all helped me so much. My first live stream, I mean, nobody cares, but I was sitting there trying to figure out how to do it for like 15 minutes. It was so awkward. I was just like, I swear I'm all there.
Wait, can I tell you? So Goddess, I was going live Friday, and I'm just like talking with like confidence to the camera, and I'm like, I'm doing it. And then Goddess calls me, and she's like, I don't see you. I don't see or hear you. And I'm like, oh my
Oh,
god, I hadn't clicked the button. So
that was basically what I did. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I did too. So you were just
yeah,
talking and no one heard you, no one saw you, no.
no. Mm-mm.
That's so
I'm like
funny.
hyping myself up. I'm like, oh yeah, this is easy.
Wait, okay, so we're the same person. I just did that
Yeah.
back in August. So,
Hmm.
yeah, no issue there. Oh, I guess Bob
Yeah.
did it too. That's so funny. So yeah,
Hmm.
we're not all not alone here.
Yeah.
Um, but I've so loved having you on, but I would love to have you on again during
Hmm.
the trial.
Yeah,
Maybe
of
we
course.
could yeah, we could do something when the state rests. I would love
Hmm.
to go over that. But guys, anyone else in the chat have any other questions for Afi about the case, about anything at all, since she was so kind enough to join me during lunch? I'll wait just a second. But I really wish that because they're not streaming this trial. So I
I
really
think they are. So I think they're streaming it. I go to Tisa Tells is streaming it.
oh, are they?
I think, yeah. So I
Is
think
Court TV
Law and
streaming
Crime is streaming it.
it? Okay, maybe
Yeah,
I
Court
just
TV. I saw Court TV back there, but I follow my girl Tisa Tells.
yeah.
I'm
Okay.
not a lawyer, but Law and Crime and Court TV are following it. But
Okay.
follow the smaller people.
Okay. Yes.
Follow the
Perfect. Perfect.
creatives.
All right. So then yeah, I'll be paying attention
Mm.
and then yeah, hopefully we can get you back when the state rests their case or at some point during the whole thing. But okay,
Yeah,
here's
because we need to predict, like,
yes.
once the state rests, we need to predict what the defense is going to do. If they're going to call anybody, what they're going to ask the judge. Like, I
Mm,
would love that. Yeah,
yes, me too.
I
I
was
did see this
confused.
question. I'm a little confused about the significance of the pretrial
Mhm.
evidence. What are the implications? I've heard his manager, oh, has the type of gun the analysis said came back. I didn't know that. And I guess he said, I guess that gives him a proximity to the weapon used. Not
Hmm.
sure.
Okay. Interesting. So the pretrial, like the pretrial hearings or preliminary examinations, you
Mhm.
have those because the state presents evidence and the judge determines whether there's enough probable cause to charge him with the crime. So a lot of times we have that if somebody's in custody, or it just depends on if it'll be good for your client or not. You'll ask for the preliminary hearing. Sometimes you want to see what the police are going to say and what they have. So, there are strategic reasons for having the preliminary hearing or preliminary examination. I call it a PE or not. But his manager, what was he saying? His manager had a prop
Yeah,
gun.
that's what I had not heard. He said his
Mm,
manager had the same type of gun. I mean, was
mm,
his manager supposed to be there at the time? I wasn't aware of that.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
Mm,
I'd have to look into that. Dizzy, do you know? I feel like Dizzy might know might know that. She
mm,
knows every case so well. But yeah, I hadn't heard that, and that would be interesting to know if his manager was around during that time. I'll
mm.
wait a second just to see. But no, I love all these questions. Okay, yeah, Dizzy, she hasn't heard that either. Interesting. I'll have to go back
Mm-mm.
and look at that. But Afi, besides YouTube at the Black Letter Law, where can everybody find you on other social media platforms?
I was gonna say, like, find me. I'm in LA hanging out, trying sushi. But I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at the Black Letter, I think it is on Twitter. And
Okay.
then Instagram, which I need to update more, it's the Black Letter Law as well. The Black Letter Law.
Okay.
I swear when I want to go into retirement, like things pull me out. So I promise to be active this year, and give
Well,
more,
I
you know,
I
give
actually
more.
quoted you in one of the podcasts that I did about Diddy because you were so
Mhm.
quick to have all of the lawsuits. You
Oh
had
yeah.
them, I forget where you had them, but you were so kind and you were so gracious to post
Mhm.
all of them on Twitter. And it was just so helpful that I remember just quoting you and
Oh yeah. Thank
yeah,
you. I can pull that. I can start doing that again. I do it because like when I used to look for myself, like it would take so much time if I didn't know the source. And then when I did get it, people would put their logo on it. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. But sometimes I'm like, hey, I want people to get this information. That's
yes,
what's most important. So you're not speculating. You can see, the accusation and the defense, in black and white. So
right. You're so right. And for whatever
yeah,
reason, I feel like people they kind of hide these lawsuits and you're right. They put their
yeah,
watermarks on it and you're like, I mean, they're gonna come out eventually. It's not, but it's so
yeah.
funny because like Dizzy and I and she's so great. She'll send me stuff and I'll send her stuff. And it's like, yes, we want everyone to see what's going on
Mhm.
here. Why wouldn't we want anyone to see that? But I follow you everywhere. I follow your Instagram and
Oh, thank you.
yeah, it's really helpful.
Let me start posting. I'll start posting more.
It's hard. I understand how hard it is. I
Mm.
have to spend like an hour on social media a
Yeah.
day just to get it all out there. And yeah, it's dizzy. It's so funny. You've been paying
Mhm.
a fortune on Pacer, but no, I feel like also for me, when I want something, I find the quickest way to get them is emailing the defense attorney.
Mhm.
But I get it if you
Mhm.
have a media type of email, which I feel like I do, they're really fast to send it to you. If you have a
Yeah.
Gmail, they might not be as fast. I don't know. Or if you have
Yeah.
a law firm's email. But yeah.
Well,
Oh,
look, the defense and the prosecution. Sometimes the prosecution, they'll send you the information right away. Like the
yeah.
moment they file it, they'll send it to you as well. So, because they want to get information out as much as, the defense wants to get information out.
Yes. Sorry. I guess I was thinking more about civil
Yeah.
lawsuits. Like
Oh
last week,
yeah. Sorry.
the Mariano Rivera and Clara Rivera, I was like,
Mm.
ooh, when I saw that, I was literally putting my kids to bed and I
Mm.
was just checking on my phone because I don't know, I got like an alert and their lawyer was right there or the Jane Doe lawyer and he emailed me back, I swear to you, within 2 minutes.
Wow.
2 minutes
Wow.
with like police reports. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Um,
I
but yeah,
love that.
we'll have to do more together because you're so lovely and
You
you
too. Thank you.
yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, and this
Mhm.
is just really, really helpful because I don't know anyone that's
Awesome.
been, inside the courtroom for this case specifically. So, is there
Mm.
anything else that you just want to add before we go?
No. Bye, Charlotte. Bye, Amber. Bye, Goddess. You guys rock. I love you guys.
Yes, thank you all so
And your
much.
people are so wonderful.
They
Your people are
are.
wonderful. Hey to my people. I hope I'm getting people. Like I want people. That's it.
Yeah.
If y'all need
No,
anything, let me know. I love to research. I love to, find if I can find any files. Like you can call me too If you need
Okay.
any files, if I have them, I'll give them out. It's no big deal.
Oh, be careful because we will. Like, be very careful. We will definitely
Mm,
be calling. But yeah, everybody make
yeah,
sure to go and subscribe to Offie's channel at the Black
thank
Letter Law
you.
and like and subscribe here. Thank you so much again. I've loved having you, and we will definitely be in touch.
Thank you. All right, bye.